Jai Hind all of you. I am Mahima Saxena, Assistant Professor in AKGC at CSE Department. Today is my first lecture of cybersecurity. Basically, I'll explain what is cybersecurity and what are the things related to cybersecurity. Now, moving forward, first of all, in cybersecurity is basically nowadays on internet, like many frauds and many other things are taking place. So first, we will start from cyber criminals. Like, what are cyber criminals? According to me, or any specific individual, according to him or her, cyber crimes are basically crimes that are taking place on internet with the help of internet, with the help of network, with the help of data, and many other things. Basically, cyber crimes are the illegal activities connected through internet or other digital means. These crimes can take various forms, impacting individuals, organizations, and government. Some of the cyber crimes are like hacking, phishing, identity theft, etc. Basically, if I am talking about hacking, then what do you mean by hacking? Hacking is basically an unauthorized access to computer system to steal someone's data, to modify, to destroy the data, or any other thing. Like basically, the hacker needs to harm the target, right? So hacking is unauthorized access to computer system to steal, to modify, or to destroy data. The next one is we're talking about phishing. Now, what is phishing? Phishing is basically a fraudulent attempts to obtain sensitive information such as usernames, password, credit card details, and by disguising as a trustworthy entity in electronic communication. This is called phishing. Moving forward, now what is identity theft? Identity theft, like the name suggests, identity is someone's identity. Like if I'm talking about myself, if someone trying to steal my identity, my personal information, to commit fraud or other crimes, this is called identity theft, stealing someone's personal information to commit fraud or other crimes. The next one is ransomware. Basically, ransomware is to ask some amount from someone. A ransom is like a money amount or anything else. Ransom is like any other activity is also called as ransom. If someone blackmails you, like for example, there is an hospital and suddenly message pop-ups on everybody's system on hospital, like your data is logged, and if you need to unlock them, then you need to pay that much of amount, right? That amount, or you need to pay something else. What are the other reasons? What are the other factors the criminal wants apart from that? This is called ransomware. Like malicious things or malicious software locks users out of their system or files until a ransom is paid. The next one is distributed denial of services. Basically, in distributed denial of service, there is a system which a hacker wants to target. In distributed denial of service, we have lots of hackers which are targeting on a particular system or a resource to destroy that, right? Basically overwhelming a website or online services with the traffic to make it unavailable to the users. Request, for example, hackers want some service or some resources from that particular computer, so it will request thousands of requests to that particular computer, so that actual user or actual needy person doesn't access that resource. This is called distributed denial of services. Now, the next one is cyber stalking. Like the other people nowadays, normal people or normal human beings performing stalking someone else's account on Instagram, Telegram, WhatsApp, what are the sources, what are the reasons, whatever it is. Basically, cyber stalking is using the internet to harass or stalk an individual, right? This is called cyber stalking. Now, moving forward, online scams and fraud. Basically, in online scams and fraud, deceptive schemes to defraud individual or businesses, often involving fake websites, email, or social media profiles. The next one is intellectual property theft. Intellectual property theft is stealing or using someone else's intellectual property, such as software, music, or movies without permission. These are the facts that come under intellectual property right. For example, if someone written a song and the other person releases that song on their name, then it is comes under the category of intellectual property theft. The next one is malware distribution. Basically, spreading malicious software such as viruses, worms, trojans to damage or disrupt system. These are the call under malware distribution. The next one is, definitely, if there are cyber crimes and there are crimes, normal crimes, some prevention and protection methods are also required. The first is strong password. Obviously, you always need to use your complex password, a strong password, and changes regularly on a regular basis if you want to protect your account and the other things. The next one is antivirus software. Basically, install and update antivirus software to protect against malware. The next one is firewalls. Use firewalls to block unauthorized access to your network. Next one is education and awareness. Stay informed about the latest cyber threats and educate yourself on safe online practices. Two-factor authentication. This is the most important thing. Like, it basically add an extra layer to your account to protect your account basically. Regular updates, keeping software and system updated to protect against vulnerabilities. The next one is backup data. Backup data is regularly backup important data to recover in case of an attack. This is the most important task. The next one is legal framework. Cyber crimes are governed by various laws and regulations globally. Some prominent legislations include, like, Computer Fraud and Abuse Act in the United States, prohibited unauthorized access to computer and network. Journal Data Protection Regulation in the European Union protects personal data and privacy. Cybercrime Convention, basically an international treaty that aims to harmonize national laws and improve investigative techniques and increase cooperation among nations to combat cyber crimes. These are some legal laws which all of you need to know about. The next one is, now, who are the cyber criminals? Basically, if we are talking about cyber criminals, like cyber criminals are individuals or groups who use technology to commit illegal activities. Their motives, skills, and methods can be widely different from normal criminals. Basically, the first one is hacker. If I am talking about hacker, hacker is further divided into three categories: black hat hacker, white hat hacker, and the third one is grey hat hacker. The first one is black hat hacker. These are the malicious hackers who exploit vulnerabilities for personal gain or cause harm. They may steal data, spread malware, or disrupt services. The next one is white hat hacker, also known as ethical hackers. They can use their skills to help organizations to find and fix security vulnerabilities. They work within legal boundaries and often in collaborations with organizations. The next one is grey hat hacker. Grey hat hacker is basically, these hackers fall somewhere from black and white hats. They may break into system without permission but without malicious intent, and often expose vulnerabilities that need fixing. These are the different types of hat hackers. The next one is cyber terrorist. Cyber terrorist is basically, these individuals or group use cyber attacks to further political or ideological goals. They aim to create fear, disrupt services, or damage critical infrastructure. The next one is hacktivists. Basically, they are politically or social motivated hackers. They use their skills to promote their causes, often through website, defacements, data leak, or denial of service attack. The next one is insiders. Insider threats come across from employees, contractors, or other with access to an organization's system. They may steal data, sabotage system, or leak confidential information for personal gain or out of spite. The next one is organized crime groups. These are sophisticated criminal enterprises that use cybercrime as a means to make money. They may engage in activities like ransomware attack, financial frauds, and identity theft. The seventh is national state actors. Basically, government-sponsored groups engage in cyber sabotage and warfare. Their goals include stealing sensitive information, disrupting critical infrastructure, and gaining strategic advantages. The next one is financial motivated cyber criminals. Basically, these individuals or groups focus on activities that directly generate income. These include phishing, credit card fraud, ransomware attacks, and selling stolen data on the dark web. All these are come under this financial motivated cyber criminals category. The next one is motivation behind cyber criminal activities. The first one is financial gain. Of course, the primary motive is always the money. The primary motivation for many cyber criminal is momentary profit. This can be achieved through theft, fraud, extortion, and selling stolen data. The next one is political and ideological goals. Basically, hacktivists and cyber terrorists use cyber attacks to promote their political or social causes, disrupt opponents, or draw attention to their issues. The third one is revenge or personal vendettas. Basically, employees or individual may use cyber attack to get back at someone or an organization they feel has wronged them. The next one is intellectual challenge or narrative. Some hackers are motivated by the challenge of bypassing security measures or the design to gain recognition with the hackers community. The next one is espionage. Basically, nation-state actors and industrial spies are often driven by the need to gather intelligence, steal trade secrets, or gain a competitive advantage. Methods used by cyber criminals are malware, phishing, social engineering, exploiting vulnerabilities, denial of service, and SQL injection. Basically, first one is malware. If I'm talking about malware, it included virus, worms, trojans, ransomware, and spyware that can affect and damage system or steal data. The next one is phishing. Deceptive email or messages designed to trick individuals into providing sensitive information or downloading malicious software. Social engineering. Manipulating individuals into divulging confidential information or performing actions that compromise security. The next one is exploiting vulnerabilities, finding and exploiting weakness in software, hardware, or network configuration to gain unauthorized access. Denial of service. I have already told what is denial of services. Basically, we have the first one is denial of service, and the second one is distributed denial of service. So the meaning of is almost same. The difference between denial of service and distributed denial of service is that in denial of service there is only one hacker that targets only one computer, but in distributed denial of service there is thousands of hackers that targeting only one computer. Okay, so basically overloading a system or network with traffic to make it unavailable to actual user. This is a basic difference. Now, moving forward, what is SQL injection? SQL injection is basically inserting malicious SQL queries into input field to manipulate databases or extract or alter data. Now, what is information security? Information security aims to protect data integrity, confidentiality, and availability. These are the CIA traits that every organization believes or every organization focuses. Effective information security measures can help prevent cyber crimes or mitigate their impact. Now, what is the core principle of information security? Like confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality is basically ensuring that the information is accessible only to those authorized to have access. Ensuring that information is accessible only. Basically, the actual users can access that particular information. Integrity is safeguarding the accuracy and completeness of information and processing methods. The third one is availability, ensuring the authorized user can have access to information and associated assets when required. The next one is key component of information security. What are the key components of information security? Is risk management, access control, encryption, network security, incident response, security awareness. Risk management is basically identifying, assessing, and mitigation risk to information asset. Access control is basically implementing policies and technology to control who can access information. Encryption is encryption is basically a two-part, like encryption and decryption. First, I want to send some data. We used two types of keys, public key and private key, in encryption or decryption. Public key is known to everybody and private key is private to me only. Like this key is particularly used by me only. So in encryption decryption algorithm, suppose I want to flow some information, I'll flow that information with the help of two keys, public and private. Public is already known to all other the peoples. Private is only by mine. I lock my key I lock that information with the help of both public and private keys. Then when the receiver receives that information, public key is already known to him also, but private key, it's his or her private key. So with the help of that his or her private key, that information will decode, right? The next one is basically network security. We need to secure network also, protecting network from attacks, including the use of firewall, intrusion detection system, and secure network architecture. The next one is incident response, basically developing and implementing plans to respond to security breaches or incidents. The next one is security awareness training, educating employees and stakeholders about security policies, procedures, and best practices. Now, what are the integrations of cyber crime prevention and information security? Two types of measures are there, proactive measures and reactive measures. The first one is proactive measure. Proactive measure is basically vulnerability management, threat intelligence, security audit, etc. Vulnerability management, regularly scanning system for vulnerabilities and applying patches to mitigate risk. रेगुलरली स्कैन करना है अपने डिवाइसेस को, ताकि जो भी कोई vulnerabilities वहाँ पे प्रेजेंट है हम उसको देख सकें, हम उसको ठीक कर सकें. The next one is threat intelligence, basically gathering and analyzing information about potential threats to stay ahead of cyber criminals. The next one is security audit, conducting regular audits and assessment to ensure compliance with security policies and standards. The next one is reactive measures, incident response plan, forensic analysis, law enforcement collaboration. If I'm talking about incident response plan, basically establishing procedures for responding to security incidents, including identifying the breach, containing the damage, and recovery system. Forensic analysis is basically investigating cyber crimes to understand how they occurred and gathered evidence for legal proceedings. Law enforcement collaboration, working with law enforcement agencies to report and investigate cyber crimes. The next one is technologies and tools, firewalls, intrusion detection, preventions, anti-malware software, security information, and event management. The first one is firewall. Firewall is basically filtering incoming and outgoing traffic to prevent unauthorized access. The next one is intrusion detection and prevention system, basically monitoring network traffic for suspicious activities and taking action to prevent potential breaches. The next one is anti-malware software. In anti-malware software, basically we are detecting and removing malicious software. The next one is security information and event management, collecting and analyzing security data from various sources to detect and respond to threats. Now, what is social engineering? Social engineering basically is a manipulation technique that exploits human psychology to gain access to confidential information or perform unauthorized actions. It relies on human interaction and often involves tricking people into breaking normal security procedures. Here are some common forms of social engineering are like phishing, spear phishing, pretexting, baiting, quid pro quo, delegating, and wishing. These are the different types of social engineering attack. The first one is phishing. Phishing is basically sending fraudulent email or messages that appear to come to be a trusted source to trick individual into providing sensitive information such as login credentials, credit card number, and personal details, right? The next one is spear phishing. Spear phishing is basically a more targeted form of phishing where the hacker customizes the message for a specific individual or an organization, often using personal information to make scam more convincing. The next one is pretexting. Pretexting is basically creating a fabricated scenario or identity to pursue the target to divulge the information or perform an action. For example, the attacker might pretend to be a co-worker or an authority figure, or basically a trusted one. The next one is baiting. Offering something to lure the victim into a trap. For example, honey trap. This could involve leaving a malicious infected USB drive in a public place, hoping someone will pick it up and plug it into their computer. And then problem solved. After that, the next one is quid pro quo. Promising a benefit in exchange of information or access. For example, an attacker might pretend to be an IT support person offering to help with a technical issue in exchange for logging credentials. Right? The next one is delegating. Basically, gaining physical access to a restricted area by following closely behind someone who has legitimate access. For example, an attacker might follow an employee into a secure building by catching the door before it closes. The next one is wishing. Use phone calls to trick individuals into providing sensitive information. The attacker might impersonate a bank representative, technical support, or any other trusted identity.